Yes, dear.
You know what day this is?
Yeah. It's the 10th.
Oh, what else?
Huh? Oh, it's my day off. That's right, dear. Oh, no. No. I was just trying to, you know, I'll bet you think I forgot that chair you wanted me to get you.
Oh, Ed, that's wonderful.
Yes, dear.
And Ed, when you go downtown, please, dear, do get yourself a new hat.
Yes, dear.
You want to look nice, don't you? That's the one thing you've always told me. Good appearance helps you to sell. Now that hat of yours, it's simply awful. Ed. Ed, are you listening to me?
No. Oh, yeah. Yes, dear. Of course. How could you think such a thing?
Ed Brooks.
Hat, shirt, ties.
And you can change your brand of shaving soap, too. I still like it. But you get a new hat just the same. Oh, and so you won't forget, here's a list of other things.
455, marked down from 9456.
Hat comes first.
Oh, yeah, a hat, sure. Goodbye, dear.
Bye, darling.
I'll be right with you, sir. Yes, sir?
A pack of Reggie's, big size.
Ever smoke a pipe in the evenings?
Oh, a little bit. Around Christmas time with the bright red neckties. I smoke it a day or so, but my mouth always seems to get sore.
Mine did, too. But here's a pipe that's different. And I'll show you why. Isn't that a beauty? Look at the walls of that pipe. They're thick for cool, sweet smoking pleasure. And this new bit makes it a real comfort to hold in your mouth. Besides, there's a double trap in the stem and the bowl to catch all the moisture. If you've ever taken a good pull at a pipe and had a lot of that goo backfire into your mouth, you'll know what I mean.
That's one thing I don't like about a pipe.
Well, the trap prevents that, and you get a cool, dry, mellow smoke from the first pipeful. Feel the weight of that pipe. Light as a feather.
How much?
$1.
I think I'll try this one.
Go ahead, fill her up. I've smoked a pipe for years, and that's the best sweet, mellow tobacco. There's nothing like it for a real smoke. Would you like to try a can of that?
Pretty good. How much?
15 cents. Now, most pipe smokers carry a brace of pipes, so one can be drying out while they're smoking the other.
This one will do me for a while.
Thanks a lot. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that pipe.
Here I am ready to buy a big 10-tube radio set. And what do you suppose the salesman gives me? The runaround. Keeps gabbing with some blonde. Practically leaves me flat. Stick around, I'll tell you the payoff. It's rich. How do you do, sir? What can I do for you today?
Well, I'd like to get a hat. Something like this.
There you are, sir. Latest thing out. Imagine that guy letting me fiddle around all by myself. Why, he didn't seem to give a hoot whether I bought that radio or not.
Say, it feels a little tight.
Why, I'd quit being a salesman if I couldn't treat people better than that. What'd you say, sir? A little light? Well, now, here's something in a darker shade. Very snappy.
I couldn't help hearing what took place. I'm sure we have just the kind of a hat you want.
Yeah, I guess I was a bit hasty.
Every once in a while, my wife clamps down on me, and I have to get a new one.
My wife's the same way. No, I didn't think I needed a new hat, but the wife insisted.
That's a good style for you. And I feel just the same as you do about an old hat. You get used to it. Wear it fishing. Get it soaked and crushed up. Well, you get to know it so well, you kind of hate to part with it.
Yeah.
Now, let's get the size.
Well, it's 7 1/8, I think.
That's right. Try this one. That hat looks well on you. Just the right swing to it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good and it feels pretty good for a new hat.
That's because of the new type band on the inside. It's flexible and adjusts itself to the shape of your head more readily than the stiffer hat bands.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's all right.
That style hat is just right for you. Looks almost as good as the old one. Shall I send it out?
No, I guess I'll wear it. That's the sort of a hammer I ought to get from my wife every time she uses one she bangs her finger.
Yeah, that's right. I never saw a woman yet who could use a hammer without smacking her finger or breaking the head off.
How much is this one?
That's 79 cents.
Seems all right.
Yes, that's a good hammer. It's got a strong hickory handle and the head is drop-forged carbon steel. But, feel this hammer. You know, it's a funny thing about a hammer. Such a darn common tool that people never stop to think about the importance of balance. Here, drive a nail with it. If you play golf, you know how important the balance of a club is. And look at all the fuss a baseball player makes about the balance of his bat.
Well, let's see. Seems better at that. How much is this one?
That's $1.95.
Oh, that's an awful lot for a hammer.
Now, just offhand, you might think so. But this whole hammer is made from a single piece of solid carbon manganese steel. There's no chance for the handle to get loose or the head to fly off. The head is carefully tempered for greatest hardness. And feel that grip. It's made up of leather rings that are pressed tightly to the handle.
Isn't it just a little bit heavy?
Weighs 24 ounces. That's the regular weight for a hammer. And a woman can use it easily. It's just a comfortable handful when you work with it.
Okay, wrap it up.
Yes, sir. How about some nails?
Jack, you old buzzard. I nearly let you have it with this hammer.
Hop in, only going down the street a bit. Hey, come on.
How do you do?
Let me see a pair of shoes.
Just have a seat, please. Something in a low-cut brogue?
A low cut's all right, but I like a lightweight shoe.
Well, brogues are the thing this season.
Well, it makes no difference to me. I still want a lightweight shoe.
Who sold you these shoes? Do you know you're wearing the wrong size for your foot?
I've been wearing them off and on for nearly a year, and they haven't hurt yet.
Well, you're lucky you haven't got bunions. Here's the size shoe you should wear.
Well, all right, but I still want to see a lightweight Oxford. These fellows will think they know it all.
Yeah, they get under my hide, too.
Seems about 2 sizes too large.
That's the correct size.
Well, I don't care if it is. The shoe's too big. Feels like a size 12. I can practically turn around in it.
Well, I've been selling shoes for 10 years, and I have fitted...
And I've been wearing them for 35 years, and I know when a shoe fits.
But, my dear sir, that shoe
That's
is...
all right. It's my foot. And another thing. If the shoe doesn't feel right to me, it doesn't fit right. Ruler or no ruler.
But
What's more, I don't want that shoe. I don't want any shoe. Come on, Ed. Let's get out of here.
How long have you been married? Buy your wife an anniversary gift at Himmelheimer and Himmelheimer. Well, thanks, old-timer. I'm glad you happened along. That guy's nuts.
How do you do? My name is Adams. May I help you?
Yeah, I want to get a chair.
Getting ready for some good lazy evenings at home, eh, Mr.
Brooks. Yeah, this is for my wife. Sort of an anniversary present. And not too expensive.
You're lucky to remember anniversaries. I usually forget them and then get jumped on by the missus.
Well, I didn't exactly remember this. My memory was jogged.
Well, that's all that counts. If you get it jogged before and not after the date. By the way, when is your anniversary?
It's today.
What kind of a chair did you have in mind?
Oh, just an easy chair.
You plan to use it in your living room?
Yeah, in the living room.
What's the general color scheme?
Well, we have a green rug and a brown Davenport, a solid green chair and a wingback chair, all bright colors.
I think I've got something that you'll like, if you'll just come with me. How do you like that?
It's all right. But, haven't you got something in a lighter shade? In a brown?
Surely. You know, I think you can get used to a chair, just like you do an old hat. Now, here's a chair that will fit well in your living room. It's well built and has a lot of warmth to its appearance. See how you like that?
You know, I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't feel right.
Well, all chairs don't have the sit to them that makes you feel relaxed. I've got another one right over here. How's that?
Well, it feels a lot better. But the arms seem to be a little high. Makes you feel sort of, well, all hunched up.
Well, I want you to try this chair. You know, to me, and I have the idea that you feel about the same way, a chair is a lot more than pieces of wood, soft padding, and nice-looking upholstery. It's more like an old friend.
You know, I agree with you there. Some chairs, when you sit in them, feel friendly. And others, no matter how expensive, well...
Don't you think so?
Yeah. Yeah. That is a nice chair.
There's a chair you can get attached to. So comfortable you'll have to fight the family to get a seat in it. When you think of all the time you sit in a chair, it's no wonder you want to feel relaxed and at ease.
And the price of this one is?
$32.50. But you can't put a price on the comfort and enjoyment you'll get out of this chair.
Well, it's a little more than I wanted to pay.
Still, it will be money well spent. Look at the way this chair is made. No cardboard, like you find in cheaper chairs. This is regular upholstery webbing with cotton padding. And just look at this material. See how well tailored this chair is. And it's built for comfort. Just imagine yourself pulling this chair up to the fire, sinking down into the deep cushions, and getting the old pipe going good. Just letting yourself go. Completely relaxing. Ah, that's solid comfort.
There's a lot in what you say.
Yes, sir. And that chair is designed to fit your body. It's no accident you feel so comfortable when you sit in it. It's built for comfort.
Feels easy, all right.
I can have your chair delivered this afternoon so your wife can enjoy it tonight.
Okay, send it out.
Hello, Ed.
Oh.
Well, looks like you bought out the town.
Not quite. My wife sent me on a shopping spree. You know how it is.
Yes. Say, when did you start smoking a pipe?
Today, I went in to buy some cigarettes, and the salesman was so darn enthusiastic about pipe smoking, first thing I knew I bought a pipe.
That happens a lot. Nice-looking hat you got there.
I like it myself. But I never came so near punching anybody without doing it.
Is that so?
One of those fresh clerks who doesn't give you a tumble, he got on my nerves. Had to go to Walker himself to get the hat I wanted.
Yeah, you run into some funny things at times.
I want to show you something. I'll bet you never saw a hammer like that before.
No, don't think I have.
Solid steel made all in one piece. Just swing it. Feel that balance, isn't it slick? And look at that swell grip. No more loose heads or broken handles for me.
Guess you got quite a selling on this hammer.
The fellow that sold me that sure knew his hammers. And was he different from a shoe salesman I ran into today?
Yes?
Yes, a wise guy. The wife's gonna be tickled. I got her just what she's been wanting for a long time. A nice, easy chair.
You had an interesting day, but I wonder if you realize just how profitable the day was for you.
Profitable? What do you mean?
Ed, you're a mighty good salesman. And with all that buying, you must have learned a lot about selling. Things to do and things not to do. Things we can use right here in our own business.
You mean in selling our product?
That's right. Our business is no different. If we sell our prospects as we like to be sold, why, there's nothing to it. You know, Ed, I've been selling things since I was a newsboy. I've studied all the books and articles, too. I've looked at a lot of pictures. I've heard a lot of speeches. And I got good things out of them all. But I find it all boils down to a few common sense things we all know, but most of us forget. The little things we can all do. Things we like when we are buying. When you were buying all these things, you were impressed one way or another, good or bad, by the attitude of the salesman who waited on you. Your face reflected just how you felt about each of the salesmen you met. You reflected the treatment you got. Now we can put all that to our advantage. You know enthusiasm is a great thing in selling, and that it pays to build it up. We don't have to shout, but we can throw ourselves into every sale with sparkle and conviction. When we know our stuff about our product, we can talk about it with all the confidence and sincerity in the world. One of the most important things I have found is to be attentive to the person we're selling. When we do that, we make the prospect feel that his interest is close to our heart. Everybody likes that. People we meet in the store are new friends, and they appreciate it when we go out of our way to let them know we're friendly toward them, like we do in our own homes. You know what it means to get the prospect on your side. There's nothing that makes anyone feel better than real helpfulness. We know it pays to give the prospect credit for having some knowledge. Let him open up. Tell us where we're wrong. Then, with the tips we get from him, clinch the sale. It's so easy for us to be these things. Enthusiastic, attentive, friendly, helpful, and sincere. You know that too, because you do it yourself, whether you realize it or not. That's why you're successful. When we do those things in our business, the prospect reflects the salesman's attitude, just as you did. By being smart and on our toes, selling is simple. It's a lot of fun, and it's surprising how sales pile up that way. You know, here's something I've always used. I check up on myself. One of the biggest helps I've found in selling, whether business is good or any time things don't go along just right. I try to put myself in the other fellow's place. I simply ask myself one question. Would you buy anything from the salesman you see in the mirror? I wonder.
Jim, take it easy. It's been a long wait, but it'll all be over before you know it. In a little while, a nurse will come in, and she'll say, "Congratulations, it's a boy," or a girl, but congratulations. And your questions will all come in a great tumbling rush. Is Mary all right? How much does he weigh? When can we take him home? And in the hours that follow, you'll treasure each scrap of information like an explorer taking notes on his first trip to the moon. Circumference of head, 12 inches. Chest, 13.5, more or less. Not the most impressive figures in the world as statistics go these days, but they'll be a start, and a good one. Nothing's going to be too good for him, will it, Jim? The world is his, isn't it? The whole big earth out there, it's his. The whole big earth, with its shadows as well as its sunlight. The drab, barren, uncompromising earth. But not for your son, huh, Jim? Not for your son. You'll see to that. You'll work twice as hard to give him everything he needs. And he'll be a credit to you and Mary, and his school, and everybody. And his 20 inches will soon become 2 feet, 2.5 feet. His shadow growing taller and broader all the time. And there'll be so much more. The thrill of finding things, discovering things, noticing things he didn't notice yesterday. His eyes claiming ownership of everything they see. The world will be his, won't it? Not this drab, gray mud puddle world, but the world with its tall trees, its hedgerows of bridal wreath and lilac, its sunlit afternoons creeping silently up quiet streets between neat rows of quiet houses. And his ears, tuned to catch your footfall on the front porch, the sound of the table being set for dinner, the call of his mother's voice, and his young heart flooding each day with new affections and a great knowledge of security. And his mother will teach him nursery rhymes, and he'll recite them to you proudly. There was a crooked man, and he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse. And they all lived together in a little crooked house. You'll teach him how to bait a hook, how to fly a kite, how to throw a baseball. Your boy is one of the best on the team, the high school coach will tell you. How is he in his studies? Fine, a good student. And you'll be proud. And why not? Good and tall and strong, clean-limbed and clean-minded, thanks to all that you've been able to give him and do for him. And you'll have long talks together. What'll he want to be? Lawyer? Engineer? Farmer? Businessman? You'll help him find the right answer out of so many possible answers. For the world is his, remember? The world with its vast opportunities. And before long, he'll be taller than you, broader of shoulder, better educated, better fitted to make a better place for himself in this world that is his. You'll help him. You'll guide him. You'll guide him so that he'll be a credit to his community, a man with friends, a man of substance, and above all, a man of responsibility. Responsibility. That's an easy word to say, isn't it, Jim? What does it mean? You're going to teach him responsibility, Jim. Are you sure you know what it means? Responsibility to himself, to be a good citizen as you are, Jim? Of course. Responsibility to his family, to support them and be a good father to his children? Of course. But does it end there? Suppose the man next door is up against it. Will your son help? Sure he will. He'll help a neighbor. But Jim, if someone in the block after that, Someone in the next neighborhood, on the other side of the city, needs help. What then? How far should responsibility reach? If you were to draw a map of your son's willingness to help others, where would you draw the line? At this house? At this alleyway? At this main intersection? Will he be responsible up to here, or here, or here? Is the land beyond that out of bounds? Would you say, Jim, that it's impossible to help everywhere at once? But misfortune and tragedy and sorrow know no bounds. They have no respect for maps. They don't know the meaning of the word neighbors. Draw a line, Jim, and try to keep hunger on one side of it. Draw a map and try to allocate a certain territory to widowhood and orphanhood. Pinpoint, if you can, the exact location where disease will strike next. Ask of blindness and deafness and tuberculosis and lost hopes. Are you my neighbor? So many lives begin the way your child's life will begin. The same 20 inches, more or less, at birth. Pretty much the same number of pounds, give or take a few either way. The same circumference of head and chest, and eyes that are blue or brown or gray. And perhaps some father or mother had the same dreams, but couldn't quite make them come true. Apparently, they were out of bounds. They were across the intersection, beyond the river. The limit line of responsibility had been drawn, and they were on the other side. But are they? Or is there a kind of giving that crosses streets and alleyways and rivers and lines of demarcation and reaches to the outermost limits of our big, sprawling city? Are there people who feel a sense of responsibility wherever there's a need for help? That's you up there, Jim. You and your contributions to your community fund. That's you reaching out to your neighbors everywhere. That's you reaching into area after congested area where there just doesn't seem to be space enough, or trees or grass enough, or laughter enough to go around. And in your community centers, you have transformed a portion of these areas into this. That's you reaching your hand to the sick who cannot afford to be sick, but who pay a heavy price for the space they occupy here on earth in the coin of illness and hopelessness. And you have transformed their hopelessness into hope. That's you reaching out to these 9-to-5 motherless ones whose days without this nursery and your dollars would be spent in lonesomeness, waiting mother's evening return from the job she must hold to support them. And you have transformed their lonesomeness into this. That's you again, extending your hand once more in encouragement and demonstrating your faith in these future citizens of our community. That's you once more. You're everywhere, Jim, among the young and old, wherever you're needed. And you have changed these twilight years of so many people from bitterness and frustration to the happiest kind of remembering. And you're here too, Jim. This blind man and woman can't see you, but you're here teaching them to travel by themselves. They know you're here. Here beside them at the work table, where their days of darkness are filled with satisfaction and contentment and pride of accomplishment. Your hand has knocked on this door too, Jim, and helped open it for these unmarried mothers whose proud title of motherhood is something of which they may not openly be proud. You have touched this spot, though you may not know it. For the home that was broken, you have helped give babies like this one, a home that will endure as long as you recognize your responsibility to others. That's you, Jim. Here, there, and everywhere. That's your mark. The mark of the red feather on this asylum and the dozens of other services for children in Chicago, on this neighborhood center and the dozens like it throughout the city, on hospitals, dispensaries, services for the blind and handicapped, on all your neighbors, wherever they may be, who look to you for help. He's here, Jim. The new lawyer, the engineer, the farmer, the businessman is here. Population of the city, state, and nation, up one. Gosh, isn't it wonderful? The tiny head, the little fists, the wispy hair, the button nose, and the frown. Who does he look like, Jim? Like Mary? Like you? What does it matter? He looks like himself, your son. And nothing is going to be too good for him. The son you will guide and help and teach. You'll be a good father, Jim, because along with the many things you plan to do for him, you will see that above all, he develops a strong sense of his responsibility toward others. You will teach him that the only things we really keep are the things we give away. You will teach him by your own example of giving. May he understand that the happiness, the health, the security we give to others is never lost, but endures as long as men freely and willingly reach out to those who need them. May he understand that, Jim. May all of us understand it.
People of the United States, 130 million of us, a great, free, dynamic nation. North, south, east, and west, more than 3 million sprawling miles between the restless oceans. This is our land, and here we thrive, the most advanced, most amazing people on the face of the globe. Melting pot of all the peoples of the earth, molded into that remarkable race, Americans. Heads high, heads low, chins up and down, banker and laborer, housewife and parlor maid, all kinds and colors of people. Most of us too preoccupied to step aside and watch ourselves on parade. But here we are, you and I, representing the greatest nation on earth. But we're always human and often funny. We, the funny people. 130 million Alices in a fabulous wonderland that we ourselves have created. We build such tall buildings that they seem to scrape the sky. At first, we look up at them in amazement. After that, most of us hurry along without ever looking up or pondering the wonder of a great city. One day, we're playing in some back lot, and then the next day, 60,000 people pay to watch us play. Expert observers broadcast our games to all the world, and when the crowd cheers, through our loudspeakers, we can hear today's history in the making, the roar of crowds or guns. Are we impressed, a little humble before such wonders in communication?
Nur allein ist das alles zuzuschreiben.
Turn it off. There's nothing on the radio anymore.
We, the amazing people, living in a world of our own making, a world of delightful contrasts and contradictions.
Now, good people, there is one thought I wish to leave with you. Fresh peanuts, popcorn, fresh peanuts.
Pappy, Pappy, get your evening Pappy here.
Happy birthday to yous, happy birthday to yous. Please send me some money, happy birthdays to you.
We, the funny people. One day we bet the shirt off our backs that something can't be done, and the next day we're taking it for granted. What kind of a world have we made for ourselves? Our civilization moves on wheels. Between the two oceans, we can roll ourselves and our goods with a speed and certainty and diminishing cost that would have astonished our grandparents and our parents. Big trucks for big goods, door to door, across the continent. Streamlined bullets of personal transportation, 25 million of them. Cars for work and cars for play. Highways for adventure, for the transportation of petticoats and pig iron. Highways for fresh vegetables and honeymooners. Everybody rides. Everybody's life is richer and fuller in the world on wheels. Enough cars to carry all of us at one time. All of us amazing, funny people. Men, women, and children, old and young, fat and thin. Banker, laborer, doctor, farmer, merchant, and housewife. Some of us lazing along, blocking traffic. Some of us in a hurry, scooting in and out, taking chances and acting silly. Sometimes we're careful and patient and friendly. Sometimes we're careless or worse. It takes all of us to make up America. We're the people, you and me, the wonderful, funny people on wheels. We laugh when our mobile civilization is called a miracle. It's too commonplace. We're used to this wonderful age of horsepower. It seems as if it's always been this way. But there was a time, not so long ago, when wheels turned more slowly. They look pretty funny to us now, but we used to dress like that, and we used to think this was big romantic stuff. The bicycle built for two was the last word in road scorchers. Pretty daring, too, if you know what I mean. Of course, sensible folk rode in buggies. We were confident that nothing could ever replace our buggies. Came a day when some mad dreamer built a carriage that ran without a horse.
Hey, fellas, come here!
We all ran out to see this mechanical freak, and when it stopped, we yelled,
"Get a horse!"
Just a rich man's toy, we said.
Well, well, what won't they think of next? Just a lot of dumb foolishness, I call it. First a perpetual motion machine, now this.
Like as not, he'll bust his arm cranking the thing.
Almost as fast as a fella can pedal when it runs.
It's crazy and it won't work. As I always say, a fool needs money.
We said it wouldn't run, but it did. It huffed and puffed and blew out innumerable tires. It stopped frequently, but it started again. And once underway, nothing could stop it. We jeered when they quit and laughed when they ran. We said there wouldn't be roads for them, but the roads came.
It's still a rich man's toy.
Some say not for long. There's a fellow in Detroit who'll make them cheap enough so everybody can own one.
That's a good one. You and me and everybody riding around in our own automobiles.
And the marshal standing out in the street keeping us in line. That's funny.
Well, I don't care what you say. You'll never catch me in one of them crazy things. Driving down the road scaring chickens. Not me. Never.
That's what most of us said. Oh, no, not me. But suddenly there we were, driving the confounded thing. And we learned how to get out and get under like everybody else. We kept them running with pliers and bent hairpins and chased squeaks with an oil can. And Gasoline Alley became the select fraternity of tinkers. There we were, happy as larks, covered with grease, and lying to our neighbors about miles per gallon and performance. Yes, we told some whoppers about what our cars would do. And when our neighbors topped our told stories, we began demanding cars that would do what we had said our cars would do. We're a strange, wonderful people, but we're the boss. We made demands, and ingenious minds gave us improvements. More cylinders, more performance, more miles per gallon, self-starting. Keeping pace with the motor car designers were the petroleum specialists, providing new fuels, new lubricants, food and lifeblood for the new cars. And gradually our cars became so efficient and complicated, we couldn't tinker with them anymore. A new institution came into being, and we called it a garage. We got our first taste of free service, and we liked it. We were saved a lot of time and bother, and we were grateful at first. Gasoline Alley faded. The gas tank disappeared from our backyards and appeared along the curb, and we called that a filling station. Pretty soon we forgot that we had ever patched a tire or cleaned a spark plug for ourselves. After a while, the grease gun disappeared from the toolkit. The filling station took over that job too. Then more and more of the irksome jobs we had once considered fun. Through the years, developed the especially designed service station, prepared to give more of us, more of what we wanted, to treat us the way we like to be treated. And the service driveway became the crossroads of America. That word service meant many things, important things. Things we, the people, most of us took for granted. It meant opening new frontiers, battling nature for the flowing gold in the heart of fever-infested jungles, a mile, 2 miles beneath the ocean floor. It meant the development of amazing refinery processes, constantly better petroleum products at constantly lower prices. It meant the creation of many new types of petroleum products, scientifically suited to the demands of new cars. Waterproof grease for water pumps, special lubricants for high-point axles, overdrive transmissions, high-speed engines. It meant new fuels, especially designed for all kinds and ages of motors, especially designed even for variation in climate and seasons. All in all, it meant a great scientific march of progress, a new conception of service in personal transportation. Yet this service station crossroads was as close as we the people ever came to the backstage miracles of automotive progress. The man beside the pump became the ambassador of the skilled army that worked endlessly behind the scenes to give us what we wanted. Were we grateful for his services? You bet we were, at first.
Been driving pretty fast, Mr. Summers?
10 miles in 32 minutes isn't crawling.
I'll say. Got your windshield all covered with dust and bugs. Wait a second, I'll get a rag and clean that off.
Well, that's nice of him.
Yes, he's interested in my car. That's why I always stop here.
But the next time we came in...
There you are, Mr. Summers, clean as a whistle.
Yeah, but how about the back window?
Oh, yeah, sure, of course.
David.
Well, the back window gets dirty too, doesn't it?
Our first taste of plus service gave us an appetite for more of everything. We were grateful when he put in an air pump. We were grateful when he installed an outside water line for our convenience. And sometimes we were careful not to leave the water running. Then we grew to expect him to fill our radiators, and he better not spill a drop on the hood either. We were grateful every time we were surprised by a new and unexpected service. After that, we took them for granted. We thought about special services only when we didn't get them. Once upon a time, we never thought of driving in winter. But it wasn't so long before we drove all winter and fumed if we had to wait a few hours for the snowdrifts to be cleared away. We're annoyed if the car won't start in the morning. We expect the serviceman, through some magic, to anticipate those things. We don't know much about antifreeze. We simply drive into the service station and expect to be fixed up. We just say, "What am I good for?"
5 below, sir.
Okay, okay. And we gamble a new radiator, perhaps a new engine, that he's right. We've learned to have confidence in him. He knows his business. He treats us, the boss, the way we want to be treated. We accept the service and never think much about the man behind it. Just as we've taken for granted the talents and techniques which developed the fuel and lubricants that made possible our new and finer cars. Every year we expect new comfort, new safety, new stamina, new performance, new value. Of course, we get them. And we, the amazing people, accept them as our due. We may marvel at the ingenious tools of modern progress, but do we ever think of the men, the brains and spirit behind all this? Not very often. Facilities are no better than the men behind them. Just imagine the modern, up-to-date service station, fully equipped, but without its expert manpower. Here we are, full facilities, but without the spirit or leadership of professional service. All right, folks, help yourselves. This station is on the self-serve cash and carry plan. Serve yourselves and let's see how well you do it. right, all right. Let's put our professional service back to work. But this time, let's not take these men for granted.
3 blocks straight down and you'll be on Route 32.
Good morning, sir. I'll take your car off your mind. Hey, are we glad to see you. Fill her up with Red Crown, and this time we'll watch what you do. Our windshield's clean. He's checking our water and oil. They're both okay, but we like the way he does it. Hello, what's this? He'll give us as much service as we'll take. He's cleaning all of the glass. Sweeping the floor. That's extra. Any good station will give you a cheerful greeting and clean your windshield and check your gas and oil, but we're getting special service here.
Thank you. Won't you come again?
Will we come again? Sure we will. And right here we've learned something. We can get the usual service almost anywhere, but when we get the usual services, plus a couple extra, we sit up and take notice. Let's look over some of the stations that bring us back again and again and see why. Many and varied are the courtesies and extra services that we find waiting for us around the next corner. All America rolls past these pumps, expecting the restrooms to be clean, the service prompt, efficient, and friendly. Whether we want to fill the tank, change the oil, buy new tires or a new battery, or simply get some information, all of us, we, the funny people, have long accepted the remarkable spirit of service that takes our cars off our minds. We take the service station around the next corner for granted. But no matter how often we come in, the successful dealer never takes us for granted. How smart would we be at sizing up people? How would this man want to be treated?
Give me 5 in a hurry.
That's easy. He just wants quick service. What about Joe Persnickety, the man who gasps every time the buttons are near his hood? Well, the smart serviceman is extra careful of Joe. He holds the hose to keep it away from the car, like this. Joe worked hard for his car, and it's going to last him a long time. Professional service is just as careful of the car as Joe himself would be. How about this? Here's a couple, obviously not in a hurry. They'll appreciate all the service they get. They want the works, and they'll come back where they get those extra services, the extra attention.
They certainly take good care of us.
And they're so nice about it. I like that smile.
This man doesn't expect to buy anything. He may want to use the restroom, the telephone, or get some information about the best place to eat. But he's a good potential customer, and he'll remember how he was treated. And look, an observing serviceman would begin by offering to check his tires. That one's down a little. Here's another. He's studying the prices. He's a price buyer, but he wants service, and extra service will make him a loyal friend. Obviously a tourist. The serviceman, who's taken trips himself, cracks the ice by asking, "How are you enjoying the trip?"
Why, fine. Say, this is mighty pretty country through here. I was just saying to Ma as we passed through, what was that last town, Ma?
He'll give a mile-by-mile description of the trip, and it'll make him happy. He's been aching to talk to somebody all day. He's like the traveling man, a regular customer who wants and deserves good service and a friendly ear for his newest story. He may want information about local business conditions, too, but take good care of him, and he won't forget you. Next time you drive into a service station, notice how quickly these men size you up and give you what you want in the way you want it, plus 2 extra services that you hadn't expected at all. It's surprising how courteously and efficiently these men take our cars off our minds. Today, the motor car sets the tempo of life, and we, the amazing people, won't take no for any answer. At the front doorstep of great cities, in the shadows of the towering skyscrapers, we have cleared space to park our cars during the business day or shopping adventure. If we can't find parking accommodations in the business district, we tear down a couple of million-dollar office buildings and make room. Walk? Of course not. We drive everywhere. We have dinner served on the window ledge of our cars. We even watch the movies from our cars. And after we've taken our exercise, watching a bunch of husky young athletes in action, we go right out to our cars and sit down all the way home. Because we drive 400, 500 miles a day, we expect sumptuous hotels to bloom in the middle of the desert. We expect good roads all the way to the fishing grounds, and we expect fish, too. So the Department of Conservation stocks the lake, and we have our pictures taken looking very, very proud and maybe a little silly. Wherever we are, whatever we do, today's civilization is geared to the rolling wheels. And here we go, you and I and all of us amazing, funny people, taking it all for granted and looking for greater miracles tomorrow. And they're on the way. On the drafting tables and in the laboratories of automobile designers, new ideas and new ideals are taking form in new cars of breathtaking beauty and performance. Behind barred doors, petroleum specialists are developing new fuels and new lubricants for faster, finer performance at lower cost. On the proving grounds, both petroleum and automotive research is testing the performance of strange, exciting experimental cars that will step up the tempo of life still further. But how about us? We, the extraordinary, take-it-for-granted people. Will we appreciate these new marvels? In imagination, let's look ahead.
110. Look at that. Only 110. And it's almost wide open. I tell you, this crate is underpowered.
Radio traffic signal. Slow down to 90. Curve ahead. Slow down to 90.
Same old signal, same old voice. Why don't they put it to music?
All right, wise guy, you asked for it.
Slow down, mister, I said slow down, mister, or you'll break your silly neck. So don't blame us.
No, we probably won't change much. We'll still be taking it all for granted and looking ahead for greater miracles to come. But in passing, let's pay a hearty tribute to that army of men who take our cars off our minds. Vital to any community, good friends and good citizens, ready to give us all we need and a little more. A salute from we, the amazing, funny, indomitable people of the United States, to the man beside the pump, who is always there round the next corner. The smiling, able ambassador of mighty progress and friendly service in the finest American way.
In 1 year in the United States, there are about 500,000 divorces. That means about 1 million men and women who look for lifelong happiness with each other admit that they had not found it. It means many thousands of children who need the security of a home and parents lose it. It means that for every 4 couples who get married, 1 is divorced. It means that with every passing year, more American marriages face the probability of failure. Perhaps it means that the basic reasons for these divorces preceded the marriages. Why did this charming couple wind up in court? Why did it have to happen this way for them? Whose fault was it? What was wrong? Was it bad luck? Was it fate? For before they became bride and groom, these two were in love.
Did you ever see such a day, Ken? Grandma used to say it's so healthy around here they had to shoot a man to start a graveyard. They say Johnny Appleseed went by this way.
Winnie, you've opened up a whole new world for me.
Oh, Ken, the ring. You squeezed so hard. Isn't it rich looking and unusual?
And inexpensive, too.
Ken, I can hardly wait until September to get away. It'll be such fun to be together all the time, and we'll be so close to everything in New York. Art shows and foreign films, and well, I'll even see the ocean for the first time. Ken, do you leave your razor blades lying around?
Don't be a fella scene, Winnie.
Well, it's a lucky thing Fran found us a 2.5 off campus. But what'll we put in it?
Well, that little Picasso sketch I picked up, that goes in the living room. It's a masterpiece.
And the Bendix?
You take care of the homemaking. I'll look after the books and records.
No male supremacy now, Professor. It doesn't go with your salary. Ken, do you like babies?
Sure.
Your own?
I hadn't thought of him.
Are you insured, Ken?
No. Why?
Well, we know so awfully little about one another, don't we?
Wouldn't it be nice if we could just wander up a road like this with never a care?
Oh, yes, darling, but someday we've got to stop and think things out.
Sure, but I'm awful hungry right now.
Well, come on.
A man chases a woman until she catches him.
Oh, Ken, isn't this heaven? Ken, let's not think too far ahead yet. Let's just fill every second with minutes. Nothing's changed, has it, Ken?
Of course not, Angel.
I'm still a mystery to you.
As mysterious as life itself.
I wanted to stay this way forever and ever.
The earth and the grass hold grand international confabulation with the sun, while man, the stumbler and finder, goes on.
But, Ken, that's beautiful. You're a great writer.
Teacher of great writing, Winnie. That was your most famous poet.
Sandberg, I know. But, Ken, you're going to be greater than he. You're going to be one of the most famous novelists in America.
If I ever get the novel written.
What do you mean, then? Of course you will.
That depends on how easy you are to catch with a typewriter.
I never run away from you. Not really.
Sometimes you do. I think I've caught the way you talk or feel, but when I try to put the words on paper, they don't ring true. I realize that I don't know you well enough to recreate you.
You will, Ken. I have all the faith in the world in you.
Winnie, do you always have to pick things?
Why not? You see a flower and you think of Sandberg or Whitman. I see a flower and I want to wear it in my hair or put it in a vase.
Nature was kind to your face, Winnie.
Oh, I like compliments.
I wish you'd take off that powder, though.
And show my freckles.
They're yours, aren't they?
Don't the girls in New Orleans have freckles?
No, they stay out of the sun.
Well, I didn't. I used to tumble around and climb fences and... You want to see the scars on my knees?
You're such a faker.
Same as you. Ken, am I fun to be with? Oh, Ken, I like your laugh. You laugh with your eyes.
You know, when you're 100, I'll be 105.
I want to die before you do, Ken.
Blue eyes say, love me or I die. Brown eyes say, love me or I kill you.
Oh, Mr. Instructor, if your students could only see you now. Hi. Did you have a good time? Wonderful. I've got to change.
At first, I thought it was only a summer romance. Ken would soon be going back to his regular teaching job in the East. But I was wrong. I like Ken all right, but I feel more comfortable with Joe. We know the same steps, like the same books. She could have got engaged to so many nice boys in town. They used to shower her with attention, put her on a pedestal. I guess they were too easy to get. Sometimes I think she just wants to get away from home. But that's Winnie. Always searching for something beyond her reach. She has to know as much or more than anybody else. No wonder they gave her a job in the dean's office when she graduated. She was a star in her own little world. She could breathe life into the dullest routine. She made things go the way she wanted them to. The girls loved her. She was so charming and helpful. I was sure she wouldn't give it up for anything in the world. She seemed to be made for a career.
Be a darling man. Help me with my zipper. Don't jump around so. Oh, I look a mess. You never looked better. Am I too showy? Some of Ken's friends are coming in from the East today. I want him to be proud of me. There they are. Bye, May. Bye. Have a good time.
And the honeymoon's all set? I still can't believe it, Ken.
You were so delightfully unattached.
Don't worry, Winnie. You're the most charming of them all.
Ken, I know where I can get you some lovely odd chairs. Very functional.
Oh?
But I thought we were going to have early American time.
You can trust Fran, Winnie. Her taste is faultless.
Why don't we go watch the moon, Peter, while they plan a home for me?
Oh, I wouldn't dare, Winnie. I might lose my head.
Why don't you tell Fran about your novel, Ken?
Is it a secret?
Yes, our secret.
Why, Ken, I didn't know you had it in you.
You just haven't appreciated it. It won't be long before the whole world knows the real Ken.
Do tell me about it.
I'd rather not. It's a little early, or late, rather. Shall we go?
Don't you think we make a charming couple? Did I make an impression, Ken?
You did all right.
I wanted so much to do the right thing.
I know.
But I felt so left out.
That could happen to anybody.
Ken, are they all like Fran?
Intellectuals, you mean?
No snobs.
You're imagining that, Winnie. You'll get used to them. It'll take time.
To get elevated to her level, is that what you mean? Ken, how can you sit there and be so superior? Don't I count?
Of course you do, Winnie. But you can't expect me to give up Fran and Pete. They're my kind of people. I'd hoped that we'd be like them.
Well, I don't want to be like her.
But what's the matter with Fran and Pete?
Ken, I think you better take me home.
If that's what you want, sure. Why not? Look, darling, hasn't this gone a little too far?
It certainly has.
But you can't expect me to be any different from what I am.
Don't you expect to change, even a little? After all, I've been giving up everything in the world for you.
But what if I don't write that novel?
Ken, you don't seem to realize yourself how good you are. No wonder Peter
But
said
I've
what he
never
did.
had anything published. You're being unfair.
Why? Because I want you to be famous? Ken, you don't realize how exciting a writer's life can be. There's no greater thrill in the world.
Can't you be just a college professor's wife? Isn't that enough?
And play ghost to your Hamlet? Oh, no, I'm not going to sit at home with the four walls and count pennies or alter myself to suit your friend's taste.
Winnie, I love you.
And I love you, Ken. But I'm not going to let you change me.
You're not going to change me either. I've got to feel free to be myself even after we're married.
Well, that goes for me, too.
He was in one of those moods again, and late as usual. But he was very popular, and nobody minded, of course. He liked to hold his class outdoors when the weather was nice. He called it Folk Origins of American Poetry. But Lit 131 was more than that, really, much more. He had read a lot and traveled widely and was a brilliant lecturer. But he was too easygoing. There was no discipline at all. He was so informal and so impersonal. I didn't think he could belong to anyone. He used to invite me up to his room once in a while. I could never figure out his game. He enjoyed things much more than he enjoyed making something of himself. He liked to talk about the folklore of the country people, the ballad singers and their musical instruments. He took pleasure in new values and ideas, and especially he liked the feeling of a university wall around him. He never was called on to make any practical decisions. He could go on thinking and dreaming and doing as he pleased. He left early one morning. Later I heard he went on a field trip with Professor Gates. He was gone for days. He made sure it was way out where no one at all could reach him.
His words were few, but his looks, they will linger forevermore. The smile in his sad dark eyes, more tender than words could be. But I was nothing to him, though he was the world to me. Today and there in his garden strolled, all robed in her satins and lace. Lady Mary, so strange and cold, who held in his heart no place. I couldn't stand it any longer, Ken.
Who told you that I was here?
I had to come back to you, or I wouldn't have known a moment's peace all my life.
But this is 100 miles from nowhere.
I kept thinking about you all the time. I couldn't sleep.
It wasn't easy for me either.
Ken, we've got a chance to be happy. Let's not throw it away.
Are you sure?
I don't want to be sure of anything, except that you love me. But I was nothing to him, though he was the world to me.
Today in his palace grand, on his flower-strewn bed.
Ken, put your arms around me. Oh, Ken, I want so to feel, I don't know, together again the way we were.
You're so lovely, Winnie.
For every woman in this world, Ken, there's only one man.
So enchanting.
When you marry for love, Ken, you're always happy.
So seductive.
Are you going to be nice again, Ken?
You'll see now.
And you'll be an angel about everything.
Always.
And we'll never disagree about anything at all.
Never.
And you won't forget my birthday?
June 26th.
And promise you won't take me for granted.
I promise.
And you'll never get fat and bald.
Never.
And we'll always be in love, even when we're old.
Always. Kiss?
To what, Ken? What to?
You say it.
To love.
Good-looking, healthy, clever. A beautiful bride. She thinks she's in love with Ken. Intelligent, gifted, certainly old enough to get married, to know his own mind. He thinks he's in love with Winnie. He likes her vivaciousness, but he doesn't realize it can't be bottled up and controlled. She likes his air of distinction, but she wants him to accept her taste. He likes her simplicity, but he wants her to be sophisticated and understand his complexities at the same time. She likes his romantic moodiness, but she wants him to be a steady provider, too. He likes her maternal qualities, but is not prepared to give up his freedom to really enjoy them. He likes her efficient practicality, but he doesn't want to have his wings clipped, so he is down to earth along with her. She likes the idea of going to live with him in a new community, but she wants the people there to be like her own neighbors. She likes almost everything she knows about him, but lots of what she knows is in her own imagination. He's willing to promise the world, but he is probably unable to give even himself. What a lovely picture this bride and groom make. They might have found each other, but instead they remain strangers. Each is a dream in the other's mind. They don't want to accept each other as they really are. They would rather change each other to satisfy their own ambitions. That's why they are doomed to fail.
Egotist. If he thinks I'm going to sit home and cry my eyes out, he's got a door to slam, well, so have I. I can make my own living just as well as he can make his. He ought to be glad I'm working. Just because he can't stand competition, he wants me to quit. My work isn't important enough. I'm only a woman. But he, the man, is boss. He'd like me to be a slave to the house while some cutie on the paper whispers into his ear what a great big reporter he is. Look at this mess. The way he throws his clothes around. It wouldn't hurt His Highness to take a little interest in the house. I'm the one who's married, but he can act as if he were single. He wouldn't dream of wearing a wedding ring, no matter how much I tell him I like it. But I'm as good as he is. I've got a brain of my own, and I intend to make the most of my life, too. Yes, I want a home and kids, but I'm not going to be a fool like Mother, bending over a washtub all her life while Dad went around as free as air. A woman's place is in the home. Why, His Highness ought to wear side whiskers and carry a gold-headed cane. If he thinks I'm going to obey his every command, he can get right out of my life. And I mean it, right out of my life.
That's a woman for you. Never tell what she'll do next. All the time I thought she was so sweet and tender. What a temper. Lucky I ducked out when I did. How could I win? I'm only a man. Oh, well, the copy won't wait. Where do women get the idea that they wear the pants? Must be her diploma. To a man, it's a piece of paper, but Virginia, she's got the world at her feet. The way she hangs on to her name, you'd think it was a shame to be a Jackson. I write the copy, but it comes out as a picture story by Virginia Chase. She'd break her neck for a good shot, but our home is like a bachelor rooming house. It's about time she learned what comes first, marriage or her job. Everybody I'm fed up with warmed up leftovers and dishes in the sink. She can't even find time to sew on a button for me. How Mom used to take care of Dad, and how happy both of them were. Virginia's got no such respect for a man. What was she thinking of when she said, I do? A roommate to help with the dishes? What does a man work for? Beating his brains out to make something out of himself if his wife doesn't look up to him. Instead, she competes with me and makes a half man out of me and a half woman out of herself. And I, like a fool, thought I was getting a wife. I'll show her who's boss, even if we wind up in the courts.
This wasn't the first time that Jackson's marriage had shown signs of cracking. And the next morning, as had happened many morning afters, they were assigned to the same story. Here they were. Who was to blame? Neither and both. Each one felt he was being asked to give up more than he could afford. Yet almost without knowing why, they moved toward each other and fumbled for some way of coming closer together. Let's go someplace and talk, Mike said.
Thank you.
This was my last assignment, Mike.
Why? What happened?
Nothing. I've made up my mind. I'm quitting the job.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
But what would you do?
Nothing. Stay in all day and hand you your slippers when you come home at night.
Oh, Jenny, I wasn't trying to defeat you.
And what was all that yelling about last night?
I was a fool. You know, after I cooled off last night, I found I'd been hanging on to a lot of ideas I don't really believe in anymore. I realized I'd miss your puttering in the dark room.
Oh, Mike, you don't have to prop me up.
No, really. I like a woman who's doing things, Jenny. I didn't marry you so you'd admire me and laugh at my jokes. You've got a mind of your own, and you've got to use it. It's about time I accepted you as you really are.
Darling, you don't know how much you're saying. It's like getting a wonderful present. I feel like, I don't know.
Well, here's my padded shoulder.
You know, when we disagree, it's a good idea to disagree about things we really don't agree about.
That was a mouthful.
I'd like to get some shots of the kids in the park. Let's straighten up and go outside. It's too nice a day to stay in the house.
Why don't we forget about cleaning up and go then?
Oh, no. I hate to come home to a messy house. The least you could do is pick up your clothes.
And the least you could do is to forget about your job on Sunday. I hate weekends like this.
So, you didn't mean a word of what you said yesterday, did you?
No, that's not what I meant. But can't we have a little bit of a family life, at least on Sunday?
Well, we may as well have this out again. Sure, I want family life. But if I'm to keep up my job, I can't do all the housework myself. You've got to do the few things I ask you to, Mike.
Are you trying to boss me again?
Oh, Mike.
Okay, Jenny. This is the last time you'll have to tell me. What do you want me to do?
Okay, we're up.
Jenny, you're doing things to me. A year ago, I'd have heard that alarm in my dreams and slept on.
I feel good, too. I feel like splurging tonight. It's payday.
But we were out only day before yesterday. Every day seems payday to you. One day we go out, the next day you buy a chiffon nightgown. But we never save a penny that way.
It's my money. The toast's gonna burn.
Don't run away. I want this straightened out.
I thought you weren't gonna mold me anymore.
You got a cigarette?
No, you haven't brushed your teeth yet. And don't change the subject. Do I look good in a chiffon nightgown, or don't I? Or don't you notice anymore?
I do, dear. I didn't mean to pick on that. I'm just trying to make $1 worth a buck. That's my point.
Well, how do we do that?
That's something we'll have to find out.
Well, I think it's just one of the things we'll have to work out. Breakfast will be ready in a minute. You waste as much money as I do, Mike, and you know it.
Who, me?
Yes, how about all your taxi cabs and fancy lunches and cocktails and things?
Oh, that's a business investment.
You mean an alibi, don't you?
All right, so I've got no head for money.
Oh, now, don't get cross. I'm not trying to start an argument. From now on, why don't we both write down every cent we spend?
That won't help. We'll just spend it anyway.
Well, what will help?
A budget.
Oh, that would depress me, Mike. I feel like it depended on an allowance.
That's the only thing that'll make a marriage like ours work.
What about love? Doesn't that come first?
Of course. It's got to rest on a balanced budget. There you are. We've still got $40 of our week's pay left. Mind you, that's after all bills are paid. The doctor, your allowance and mine, everything taken care of.
Now what are we going to do with all this money?
Tell you what, you just write down everything you've ever wanted.
All right. I like this part of it.
Go ahead, just splurge. I'll write mine down, too.
Let's see. Rolleiflex, fur jacket, some new china. Hey, this is fun.
Wait a minute. We wanted a vacation. We must save something for a vacation.
Yes, I need a vacation, too. Oh, I see. You mean we have to cut out something.
And, Jenny, another thing, remember? A house, and a kid, or kids, and a car. We've got to start saving.
And all that out of $40?
A week. Don't forget, that's a lot of money in a year. We can cut down on our allowance, too. Look, if I cut down on cigarettes, on cabs, I bring in another $10. Well, that's $500 a year.
Let me see the food budget. If we eat home 2 more days a week, and look, that fur jacket can wait, too.
Baby, you catch on quick.
It's fun to make money like this.
Jenny, we just made a chunk of dough. It's 60 instead of 40 a week now. Well, that's wonderful.
Mike, you're wonderful. Where would I be without you?
Bye. Bye.
Well, there goes the budget.
It was your idea.
That city desk friend of yours, the one that was making passes at Marge, I thought he was disgusting.
If you must know, that genius photographer friend of yours bores me stiff.
Why do we have to have 2 sets of friends anyway?
That's right. Why?
Incidentally, you could have mentioned that I made the cake myself.
Sorry. But you could have let me get halfway through one story without breaking in on it.
I guess we haven't learned yet not to compete with each other. Oh, I'm tired. You know the Robinsons that live up the street in that new house you like? I keep meeting her at the grocery all the time. She's asked us in lots of times.
What's her husband like?
I think you'd like him.
Yes, I think it'd be a good idea if we made friends with some neighbors. The next time you see her, tell her we'd be delighted to come.
What's today?
20th.
And last month when we did that hospital story, when was that?
9th? No, 10th. Why?
I think you better take me to the doctor tomorrow.
It's 7 years now since the Jacksons decided to work at their marriage. It's no coincidence, perhaps, that for the last 7 years, the marriage has worked for them. Not perfectly, of course, but well enough. They were tough years, too, full of crises and the normal run of trouble, but the Jacksons took them in stride. Mike has won his promotion by hard work, the same way he has made himself a happy home. A little luck, but mostly sweat and tears. There have been 2 additions to the family. Tom is 7 and a budding Tarzan. Mike gets a kick out of seeing young muscles and skills develop. He can nearly remember when he was 7 himself. So long, fella. Be seeing you. They get along pretty well, these male Jacksons. With themselves and with their womenfolk.
Hello, Mike. Thanks for bringing those things.
The couple still need kid gloves from time to time, but they figured out ways to handle ticklish situations. Virginia's apron, when it's worn astern, means, take it easy, I need tender love and care tonight. And Mike's got his own danger signals. His spinning hat says it's one of those days when a fella needs a friend.
I see you had a hard day.
Not so hard that a warm greeting can't help a little.
Let me finish this. I'll be with you in a minute.
And even now.
Can't you teach Tom to keep his junk out of the way?
Why don't you watch where you're going? Tom's part of this family, too, you know.
But he has to learn to keep order someday.
Well, he will, but losing your temper won't do it.
But nowadays, such scenes don't end with one of them sulking. Their relationship isn't brittle, always at the cracking point like it used to be. Mike isn't troubled by the fact that Virginia still has her own work to do once in a while. They've long since stopped worrying about who's breadwinner and who's housemaker. Mike's dignity is much more flexible since he discovered that a wet baby loves whoever changes her, male or female.
Dinner's almost ready. Come anytime. It'll be awfully simple.
He learned his techniques when Tom was an infant, and he's mighty proud of his tender touch. Why not? Some guys boast of their sensitivity to the feel of a fishing line. Mike thinks handling a prima donna is even trickier. Home life at the Jacksons, like most American home life, is a curious jumble of interests and needs. To make it everybody's family table takes a lot of doing. Mike and Virginia have learned they can make it theirs by being aware of everybody else's wants. By taking time out for the others, they make time for themselves. These days, Virginia is proud of Mike's success. They're not competing anymore. Why should they? Budgets and careers and differences of personalities don't have to mean trouble. It's a good deal for both, this partnership without a boss. The fruits of adjustment are a little noisy, but mighty sweet.
This is an age of speed, a nervous age that keeps our emotions stirred. All of us, young or old, schooled or illiterate, are endowed by nature with the ability to live a life filled with many kinds of emotions. But whether we will show them in an uncontrolled outburst, whether we will act in some antisocial way, whether we swallow our upsets or deny them even to ourselves, we cannot do away with them. They are part of our personality. We inherited many confusing and conflicting ideas about emotions, some of which still linger on. But today, people in distress need not conceal their emotional problems anymore. They can find help and counsel from a new group of specialists: psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, and the modern religious counselors. In this film, we're not concerned with clinically disordered emotions, but with everyday experiences involving emotions. For these, we must start at the beginning, with the newborn child. Welcome, young man. Welcome to life. For you, as for all children, life begins as an emotional experience. Obviously, this new and strange world comes as a shock to you. Though just 1 minute old, you are a personality with a name, an identity by which we recognize you as an individual. Look at him. This new individual is well equipped for all the physiological functions of living and for emotional responses to events around him. From his first breath, he is capable of being happy or unhappy and can make others around him happy or unhappy. How he learns to use his inborn capacities will largely depend on what this new world offers him, how he, as a child, will experience his relations with others. For emotions are not learned deliberately like skills or facts. The baby will develop them through living with others, by responding to those who handle him, speak to him, comfort him, or provoke him, by reacting emotionally to those he sees and touches, to those whose songs he hears. And so as the child grows, he will learn many new things, some from books and teachers, but probably much more from trying, testing, accepting, and rejecting. In other words, from living with others. From the beginning, the child literally feels his way through life, loving, hating, worrying, trying to find a place for himself in this new world of grown-ups. From day to day, the basic emotional responses tie in with one new experience after another, with cue after cue, with the child's own responses to new situations and new cues. As an example, an infant experiences a strong emotional shock when the pediatrician gives him his first injection. Several signals may connect with this unpleasant experience, such as the specific odor of the office, the color of the doctor's jacket, the sight of his instruments. Later, when the mother brings the child to a doctor's office, the mere smell of it may provoke the same responses that were part of the earlier experience of pain. And these, in turn, may release emotional responses of crying and rebelling in defense against the anticipated pain. As the child matures, she can tell herself that the visit to the doctor's office is important for her health. Therefore, she can soothe her responses by reasoning, which means that she has learned to control an emotional reaction through signals given to herself by reasoning. In his daily routine, the child continuously learns about life. Memories of many of his early experiences may fade and seem forgotten, but they are rarely completely erased. Although he may not be conscious of them, they are often operating in his later life as the forgotten childhood. Where a young infant's drive has been kept low, where parents paid attention to his early requests, the child easily progresses to the next developmental step, exploration, striving to achieve some gratifications by himself. This struggling to achieve gratifications by himself is part of the preparation for later life. But even at the height of achievements, it will be the childhood patterns of his emotional experiences that will largely govern his relations with others. That's why it is so important that he learns to manage emotions honestly as he develops physically. Where did a helpless infant get this capacity for emotions? Just as he could breathe, eat, and digest food from the time he opened his eyes, he could also respond with emotions. Let's try to visualize what goes on inside the human body when pain or danger threatens. The adrenal glands release hormones into the blood. The heart pumps the blood, carrying these chemical messengers to all parts of the body. In the liver, they release an emergency ration of stored sugar into the bloodstream. The heartbeat accelerates. The blood pressure goes up. Breathing becomes faster. From this point of view, we may describe emotions as primitive biological reactions to painful or threatening stimulations from outside, intense responses involving the whole body. From the very beginning, the human baby is equipped with this emotional defense setup. As his experiences grow, his emotional responses become more varied. Here is a boy just beginning to explore the world, with curiosity, with eagerness. But the road of exploration is not smooth. He is unable to handle his blocks, and so he's frustrated and disturbed. Sister's too young to help. Here comes Mother. The toy hammer is a good release for his emotional and physical reactions, and soon the blocks are forgotten. Someday he'll be able to meet such frustrating incidents without crying. From day to day, his play experiences are increasing, not without occasional upsets. These are his sister's crayons. And here's Lynn to claim her right.
Dr. Man, you bad, bad boy.
This is a familiar scene and a very significant one. Observe how Lynn uses words to express her emotions. That's quite a step forward from crying or hitting.
Bad, bad boy.
Sometimes grown-ups find a child's sincere expression of emotions shocking, and so may tend to undermine the child's emotional sincerity.
Lynn, dear, play with your brother. Come on, darling. Play with your brother.
I don't like him.
Well, Lynn, you don't really mean that. You love your brother, of course.
I don't like him.
Oh, be nice to brother. He's our baby.
Send him on my way.
Lynn is jealous of the baby and shows it. No use telling her that she must love Toby. Right now, she wants to get rid of the baby as competition for Mother's love. Mother's insistence that she must love Toby not only confuses her, but increases her jealousy. Another example. This one about learning and unlearning signals that cause emotional upsets. Patsy is scared of dogs, and so's her mother. Patsy's fear is strengthened by the examples of her mother's uneasiness. Whenever she comes out, there's a threatening animal on the street. Gradually, she withdraws from playing outside. One day, her father comes home from the office with a present. She's eager to see it. But out of the box comes a stuffed dog. No, she doesn't like dogs, not even stuffed dogs. It may take a long time for Patsy to become friendly to dogs. That is, to unlearn her fear of dogs. But not all so-called childish upsets are confined to little children. For instance, a youngster may fall back to bedwetting in protest against a new baby. Another may revert to thumb-sucking or nail-biting when facing an unpleasant or threatening situation, a new teacher, or stern parental demand. Adolescence is an especially sensitive age. Sometimes the fear of new responsibilities makes adolescents act in what we call a childish manner. These excursions to less mature behavior are often indications that some disappointment or pressure is weighing upon the youngsters. Recognizing this, parents, friends, and teachers can help them to overcome their troubles and return to a more mature level. We are getting increasingly aware that the emotional causes sometimes lead to physical discomforts, like in the case of this girl. Taking medicine alone may not cure her. Often a competent physician will decide to call upon a psychiatrist or psychologist to help him probe deeper into the emotional causes of certain ailments. Strong emotions tend to express themselves even when we try to hide or suppress them. When continuously suppressed, they may go underground and may interfere with bodily functions such as digestion or elimination, or they may disturb the heart and circulation, or give rise to recurrent headaches. Symptoms of such ailments are often called psychosomatic. Psychosomatic are such physical disturbances that have emotional causes. Up to now, we've been discussing mostly emotional upsets, but our satisfactions are emotions too. The natural love of parents for children is one of them. The affection of parents for each other. The stirrings of attraction between the young adults. All these and many more are high points of emotional satisfaction. The study of emotions is a complex subject. This film set out only to create an awareness of this problem by showing that we all are born capable of emotions, that we develop emotionally through living with others, that there is no golden rule or magic formula for emotional maturation, that emotions cannot be denied, only suppressed. If we recognize and accept our emotions, if we learn to channel them to useful purposes, they will become the raw materials for the building of healthy personalities, capable of feeling and therefore of living rich and full lives as useful members of society.